Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, and no bullshit around here. All right, I want to discuss this whole Drew Lock situation. Again, we are caught up in what I call 90s football, 80s football. Of we got to see what we've got. We've got to see what we have, But before I get into that ridiculous meme, and I'll explain why that's ridiculous and why I go against the grain, okay? But the end result will be what I say, and you'll see when this happens. But before I get into that, I want to address a critique of Brandon Allen I saw on YouTube. And the bottom line was with this guy, he didn't like Brandon Allen because he threw on his first read. That was basically just it's his first read. Look, his first read. Here's another guy stuck in the 90s. Literally. Fans, what happens with football fans, why I do not have a popular channel, is I don't echo what everybody echoes back and forth. That's why I have my own channel, because that you go nowhere when you do that. You slowly progress. Yes, back in the 90s, you heard this all the time. You got to go through your first read, your second read, your third read. That would be fine if you had the steel curtain in front of you as a quarterback, and you had all this time. Today's NFL, and this show you that this guy is a complete dinosaur. He is so far behind today's NFL. And I actually think that there's still a lot of coaches in the NFL organizations also in this dinosaur, old NFL way of thinking. In today's NFL, a quarterback must be able to go through those reads before the ball is even snapped. Before the ball is snapped. It's up to the quarterback to change his first read. What was his first read in the huddle after he sees the defense, he can option, and this is all done in the playbook. His third read could become the first read based on, we'll call it, maybe it's the third read's a tight end. And he's going to throw that to that. The bottom line is, in today's NFL, you've got to diagnose the defense. You've got to change the play. You may have to even run the play, do a running play. You have to change. This is where your reads come in, because you don't have time in today's NFL with today's defensive ends, defensive line, linebacking. The speed of the game has increased. Quarterbacks don't have the time to sit there and read books, okay? One, read two, read three. You've got to get rid of the ball in what I call the 2 to 3 window second. You've got in today's, and even Lamar Jackson, I brought this up too. The NFL will catch up, and you mark my word on this. The NFL will catch up with Lamar Jackson. It will. And Lamar Jackson at some point will have to get rid of the ball sooner rather than later. We're already seeing that with Mahomes. And one problem that Mahomes has this year compared to last year is that his offensive line isn't as good as it was last year. He had to speed up, and that's why his production has gone down for him, for what we saw the year before. Okay? I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes is wash. Anyway, the person giving the critique is stuck in the 90s, stuck in this, you got to go up and do your reads. No, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning basically changed the NFL, really. And Tom Brady especially. Tom Brady is really a first read thrower, but he changes the play. It could be he could throw to Gronkowski. That could be, his, when he goes and changes the play, even though Edelman was initially his first read. Okay? Getting rid of the ball fast. Quicker, sooner, the better, and hitting your target. Now, that's on the quarterback. Now, one reason Matt Moore has basically reinvented himself, because I want to bring up this other myth that the quarterbacks actually help the receivers catch the ball. This whole the overblowing of the quarterback position. You got to put the quarterback position in perspective. Okay, in perspective of what I don't care who the quarterback is, and that we get caught up in names, and they're not the answer. They're a quarterback guy, all that. In today's NFL, like I said, you have to get rid of the ball within the 2 to 3 window second. That's your first read, but you've got to change that at the line of scrimmage when need be. I have no problem with Brandon Allen throwing on his. He has to, especially the fact that he has one of the worst offensive lines in front of him. And he can't give Garrett Bowles time to hold. This kind of thing. But like I said, this really goes for all quarterbacks. In today's NFL, you just don't have the time to go through your progressions. No, you have to, in today's NFL, do it before the snap of the ball. Change the play as needed based on the coverages that you see. And you may get time to go to a second read, maybe. But you ain't going after, you're a dead man walking if you're going back past that in today's NFL. So this guy's, like I said, he's stuck in the 90s, and I would throw that kind of that horse shit out the door. Am I saying Brandon Allen is that far advanced? No, but he did change the play up. He gets a grasp of it to a certain extent. And I think that is why he's as successful as he has been. Making the right calls at the line of scrimmage when the run and throw. He had changed the plays up. I'm just not saying it's entirely extensive. That segues us into Locke. I personally do not think it is fair to Locke to put him in. And I'm the guy that didn't want to bring Locke in to begin with. So you would think that I'd be motivated to say, yeah, put him in, let him fail, get rid of him. I don't think that's fair. Because I'm already hearing it at sports talk radio. I'm already hearing it. At first they were saying, oh, no, we just need some sort of an idea. But lately they've been saying if this guy doesn't pull off a miracle, I mean, let's face it, he's a rookie who can't read defenses. He's not that, he's not there yet. And, and again, like I said, in today's NFL, you have to be able to read defenses prior to the snap and be able to audible out of whatever you were in, stick with it, this kind of thing. He is nowhere near doing that. Nowhere. I'm not saying he can't do it at all. I'm just saying that he can't do it. I don't think he could do it at the level of Brandon Allen, even because, just the time that Allen's been around the NFL. So what's going to happen is if he doesn't pull off some miracles, he's going to, and the law of averages says he's going to struggle. And I'm already hearing on sports talk radio that language is, even though they're not saying it outright, is basically if he doesn't pull off these miracles, well, we've got to draft a quarterback in the first round. There are so many player personnel right now that is needed before. I mean, let's go back to Kansas City real quick about Matt Moore, the reinvention. This guy has tremendous talent around him. Matt Moore looks like a completely different quarterback. So when I say that the quarterback has to predetermine what they're going to do prior to the snap, even when I'm saying that, you have to have really good personnel around you. Like I say, you got to have an Edelman. You've got to have a Gronk. You've got to have people that can get open. If you're at the line, I say, I tap my head, which means I'm changing the call, that first read. Okay, I'm not going to go to Edelman. I'm going to go to Gronk this time. Just put it in this perspective. I'm going to go to Noah Fant. Okay, this time. And I tap my top of my head. So now you're the first read. You best get open. And you got to get open. I don't care how you do it. You got to get open within that 3-second window. Unless, of course, it's a bombs away type. And then you got to, and this is where Drew Lock could probably come in and help. Where, you drop back and give yourself a few more seconds. But that's just it. Your goal is you're giving yourself that extra time And it's still like 3-4 seconds, maybe 3 to 4 seconds. That's an eternity in today's NFL to launch that ball. And it's up to Cortland Sutton to get open, or at least you got to have the accuracy for him to jump up, which what Brandon Allen did. Now, this critique of Brandon Allen, by the way, was during the Cleveland game. And what also the person didn't take into account is that, he hadn't been, this isn't like he'd been with the team, playing with the starters and even playing for the season. His critique was a bit absurd, just on that alone. But his mentality is still back in the 90s, is what I was trying to say. But what's going to happen with Locke is what you should expect. A rookie quarterback on a crappy team, to forget, he doesn't have the player personnel like Matt Moore has in Kansas City. He's not going to have time to make, he's got to get rid of the ball quick. There's no other way around it. Either Bowles is going to hold or somebody's going to hold, or it's just going to break down, okay? So he's basically going to have to however he does it. What I mean is whoever he throws to, he's got to get it out in the 2 to 3 window second. Okay, he just isn't going to have time too often. He may scramble out, do a boot, to give him a couple more seconds and launch the ball, and that's what you're hoping to see. And, of course, what could be going through John Elway's mind as far as Drew Lock is concerned is to play him at the end of the season to showcase him in a trade deal. Maybe possibly with Cincinnati. Who knows? Nobody else is going to talk about that. You're hearing it here. If it happens, you heard it here, because I'm not afraid to talk about that. But I just don't think that if this whole idea of we have to go grab another quarterback, because there's so many needs. I wouldn't even mind seeing a number 1 receiver being picked. I brought this up. Just one more wide receiver that, will help the offense out tremendously, will help a quarterback out tremendously. But I want a guy, I don't care if he's, and maybe you can get him in the later rounds. Like I said, Edelman was a 7th rounder. I just need a guy that can get open. Because if I audible and you're now the first read, you have got to either get open, or you have to be the type of NFL player that can, like Cortland Sutton's becoming, be able to, come up with a catch more times than not when you're covered. So the quarterback says, I'm throwing it, you're covered, but I'm still, it's up to you. It's your job. I got it to where you can get it. It's your job to actually get that ball. I do not believe that the Broncos have anywhere near the receivers, the receiving core they need to make the quarterback a better quarterback, no matter who the quarterback is. So just willy-nilly grabbing quarterbacks and hoping they work in a dysfunctional system isn't going to solve any problem. You have to do across-the-board upgrades. So my thinking is that Brandon Allen serves as Alex Smith, more of a bridge quarterback. And sure, maybe, give him some reps. I don't know. And it's not like I'm not opposed to bringing Locke in I'm not opposed to bringing Locke in. I'm opposed to bringing him in under the idea we'll see what we got. Well, you know what you have. You got a rookie quarterback on a crappy team. Are you going to give Locke the opportunity when he struggles? That's the $1 million question. And I say that as soon as he struggles, they'll write him off. Because the Denver Broncos is a place where quarterbacks come to die.